Welcome back to the Market Frontlines. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk. It's day 2 of PDAC 2026 right here in cold Toronto. And yet the temperature inside here is nowhere close to that. Now we're in the heart of the world's biggest mining conference where billion-dollar ideas are pitched over coffee. Boots hit the ground from dawn to dusk and capital is chasing the next real asset story. Now sitting with me right now is someone who is not specifically in that kind of mining, but who is still building exactly that. Nolan Peterson, CEO of Atlas Salt. Nolan isn't chasing the next big metal story. He's building what every city, every highway, and every winter season depends on. Salt. But not just any salt. A potential long-life, low-cost underground operation in Newfoundland that could change the North American supply picture. And in a world that talks endlessly about critical minerals, Atlas is quietly positioning itself around a commodity that is essential, reoccurring, and recession-resistant. Nolan, welcome to the show. How's the show been?
It's been great, Lindsay. Great to be here. I mean, with that intro, I don't even know if I need to say anything.
Well, you know, when you step outside in Toronto or anywhere in the East Coast, It has been hit over and over and over again. Even locals here are like, come on, just cut me a break a little bit here.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm going to step back a little bit because there are some new audience members who don't really know quite yet about Atlas. So why don't we start this? What's it all about?
Yeah, so as you introed, we have the Great Atlantic Salt Project. It's on the west coast of Newfoundland, and the purpose of the salt is to mine a de-icing salt for the roads and infrastructure. So as you were mentioning, it's about security, safety. People can't go out when we have winters like this and drive on the roads, or there's accidents, right? A lot of these jurisdictions that you mentioned are legally obligated to salt their roads too. But a lot of people even here, they just think that salt just shows up and it gets sprinkled on the road and it's fine. But really, there's a shortage of salt from North American producers. We have to import a lot of salt, and we aim to be a solution to that. That's what we offer.
And what's really great is you see a lot of cross-border volatility right now at import-export. So you're a Canadian company.
Yes.
You're in Newfoundland.
That's right.
There is not really a lot of education around that. Tell us about Newfoundland. Tell us about the sector there.
Yeah.
The community. Tell us all of those
Well,
things.
Newfoundland is a great mining jurisdiction, was recently ranked as one of the top 10 jurisdictions in the world for mining, right? The government is very supportive. The Indigenous and local community members are supportive as well. So it's a very good place to do business. It's a testament to that is the fact that we have an environmental assessment approval from the provincial government and permits in hand. And that EA took 2 months to receive. That's it. Yeah, full sign off, ready to go, thumbs up, good to go, right? So we're not here chasing assays and drill results or things like that. And then we're going to hit a permitting wall. No, that's behind us. In fact, we started construction just on Friday.
I was going to say, congratulations.
Thank you. So, early works construction. We're working towards the broader financing package that'll underpin the bulk of the construction activities. But yeah, Newfoundland's a great place to do business. And, Atlas Salt and salt in general is a little bit of a niche product, right? For the most part.
So needed.
Right? We're the only company at PDAC that is mining salt for this application. And so this is the opportunity for people to take a deeper dive. And if they like what they see, get exposure in an undersaturated market.
And that's the big story there, right? So anybody can actually go onto your website. They can see the news releases. They can see all of those things. What I want to do is just really pull the curtain back a little bit further and dive a little bit deeper on maybe something that you see the market or investors, they're just still not understanding yet.
Yeah. I would say it's the ease of which we can develop this project. Remember, we have, with every type of project, there's risk involved, right?
Sure.
A lot of the projects here at PDAC, besides the big producers, although even some of them, they have jurisdictional risk. They have drill risk. They have engineering and metallurgical risk. They have environmental risk. They have stakeholder risk, et cetera, right? And if you go through each of those categories, you realize that Atlas Salt addresses a lot of them. We don't need to drill anymore. We have very little engineering required on metallurgy and things like what are our recoveries going to be? Can this salt be mined economically? Like, we have a feasibility study that confirms that. We have great jurisdiction, we have great stakeholders, we have great Indigenous relationships, right? Financing is, of course, a risk that every new project that wants to build has. We're working through that. We have a plan in place. So again, take a look. I would encourage investors to take a look, and they say, think about the things that have held up investments that they've had in the past, right? And would that apply to Atlas Salt? Probably not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, some of the challenges that you're like salt, like Atlas.
Yeah.
What you specifically are being faced with that may be a little bit different than the traditional mining sector.
As well, as I mentioned, it's really just the education piece, right? Most people, but it's almost an opportunity too, because I think most people are naturally curious. They want to learn more.
Yeah.
And that creates a natural opening, right?
Right.
But the downside of that is, of course, we spend a lot of time in the intro with a lot of new investors, whereas with gold, they're just like, okay, show me your latest results. What's your land package look like? Who's beside you and things of that nature. For Atlas, though, we get them hooked onto the fact that it's salt. It's a new commodity. It's something that they probably see and use indirectly or directly, whether even a lot of people salt their own driveways and sidewalks as well. And that is where our salt will end up. So that is the biggest challenge, but also the biggest opportunity. And, that was what drew me into Atlas Salt as well.
Wow. Okay. So what's your target audience? Tell us that.
So traditional resource sector investors, of course, underpin most of the TSX venture and junior mining company industry, but also we are looking for industrial minerals investors, right? Iron ore, alumina, those types of investors who like these low risk projects. And then also those types of investors who like strong, steady cash flow, right? But are willing to, invest early, see that upside as you de-risk, and then enjoy the dividend and cash flow payout once you're in operations or once the project is built.
So unpack a little bit more about your cash flow.
So in the feasibility study, we have very strong life of mine cash flows. So $188 million a year on average for 25 years. 25 years defined by drilling in reserve right now. And we have another 50 years of resource potential that could be added to the life of mine. And this is in contrast to the average, new gold mine by a developer kind of our size. They might be sitting at 10 to 12 years out of the gate and hoping to add a few years. And then of those 12 years, the first 5 years are really the good years, right? When they're high grading it or something like that. So for us, we don't have to worry about that. But, it's not a volatile commodity. Winter helps uplift the price.
Absolutely. And the education.
Exactly.
Probably.
It's recession proof. So people who value those types of cash flows really appreciate this as an investment opportunity.
So this is specifically for roads and infrastructure like that? Or can it be used? I mean, we see it now all the time, de-icing the planes.
Yeah, well, de-icing the planes is specific aerospace application. You wouldn't spray like sodium chloride on there, but there would be an opportunity for our salt to go into other markets that are outside of de-icing that salt is used in. So chemicals, food, agriculture, things of that nature. The margins are higher, but at this stage, it's an early stage for us to be investigating that. We want to make sure we can build this at the, let's call it the worst case, which is our base plan, which is still very, very attractive, right? Yeah. So the rest, everything on top of that is upside for the investor.
Absolutely. So, let's look at the next, we'll say 1 to 2 quarters. What are some milestones that you need to hit?
Yeah, so we're actually, I would say, ahead of schedule now by starting that construction activity earlier than expected. But we are working through that project financing, as I mentioned, with a group called Endeavour Financial, a very experienced finance debt lender advisor out of London. And we're working to go to the market to put together a syndicate to fund this project on the debt side. So that's our biggest milestone. But of course, we're looking for other funding sources as well from potential bridge financing partners or government support as well.
Where are you guys trading? What's your platform?
We're on the venture with the best ticker in the world, SALT, SALT.
Wow.
Yeah.
Catchy.
Yeah, exactly. And the OTCQX, SALQF. Unfortunately, there were others called SALT already, but SALQF in the US
Well, perfect. I think that there's so much more that we could unpack with your story and just really educate the audience. So definitely come back and we can take. Of course, Steve. Okay. Thank you again.
Thanks, Lyndsay.
Again, that was Nolan Peterson, CEO of Atlas Salt, trading on the venture, as mentioned, under SALT. And you can learn more all about their story at atlasswordsalt.com. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk from Appeton Media. Stay with us right here at PDAC.